Welcome to Spin the Wheel Showdown, where every video I sit down with a guest and we're going to spin that leader wheel. And depending on what the wheel gets, we're going to be playing a game with two different random leaders, some of the leaders we have not played, and going to see who is the better leader. Now let's spin that wheel and see what we get. What's up everybody, the wheel has spoken, and I'm going to be playing some Uta against good old black purple Luffy here, and I ended up losing the die roll and being forced to go first, which I don't mind per se, as a lot of my curve does kind of work on the odd, but the benefit of going on the even curve is I can attach one Dawn every turn and swing and still kind of play out my threats. Black purple Luffy definitely likes being on the second Dawn curve because they can more easily get to their 8-drop Gecko Moria, play their Frankies on curve, and yada yada, and their good old Aegis almost making a misplay there, almost grabbing the Gum Gum Giant. We've learned our mistakes. We're not gonna let that happen again from the first series of Spin the Wheel, so went ahead and caught him on that, and we're gonna go to my 3-Dawn turn here. Kind of my goal here is to try to be relatively aggressive. I have quite a few Usops in my hand, and so I think we're just going to go ahead and swing 5 and establish a 5k body on the board here, just to try to start pushing as much damage as possible. One of Luffy's biggest weaknesses is just the fact that he's a 4-life leader, so the more aggressive I can be early, the better off I'll be in this specific matchup. So we're going to just go ahead and play out the Usopp here. Then next turn I can kind of set myself up for a potential Brook into Usopp play, as well as attaching one to lead to be able to swing there. Passing back to Luffy's turn here, Luffy's got a bit of a grip here of some removal cards. Some of them are still trapped at a little bit of a higher price than what he can pay to play this turn. He does have the 4-drop Frankie and to the front of the hand there, that's Top Knot, that can bottom deck a 4-drop or less with the additional cost of requiring you to -2 Dawn. But good old black purple Luffy's leader doesn't care about that, so the first time you would return I believe 2 or more Dawn, you get 2 Dawn back, 1 rested and 1 active here. So a lot of these -2 Dawn effects are pretty much going to be free, especially if you just do it once in a turn here. You can see good old Frankie come to the front of the hand here. A few 2Ks in hand, a few spots of removal. That Sanji's going to be doing work later in the game. And then the Kaido being the nice little end drop there here. Just a pretty solid hand for the black purple Luffy side. Uta's side, not really running too much crazy stuff here. Just got a few vanillas. I got the Katakuri in hand, as well as I believe some 2k counters here. You're gonna start with a 5k lead here. I'm attempting to put some music on while we're playing here. We're gonna go and just counter out with the Usopp here. We do have the Katakuri in hand. That Katakuri can be put into play off of Brook, I believe, as well. So that's something we have to be cognizant of as we're playing here. Frankie gonna come in, gonna -2 Dawn, be a nice little 5k blocker, and then gonna return that Dawn back. Aegis just reading the leader here. I think this is his first time playing Black Purple Luffy, and actually my first time sitting across from it. Unfortunately, this deck does not get as much love as maybe it should here. And he's going to discard the Toy Soldier, going to draw 2, try to find some more answers, some more things to play in the middle of the game here. And then likely just going to be a pass of the turn with just 1 Dawn open at this point. On my side, I'm still relatively healthy, 5 life leader, likely going to just be playing the Brook next turn, as we are going to potentially pass back into my turn here and see what we can do on the 5 Dawn turn. That Brook, or that Frankie, not too big of an issue here. We're going to go ahead and swing 6k into lead here. We're going to reveal the top card of my deck. It's going to be a Sanji, nice little 2k Sanji, a great addition to the deck, as well as that 2k Luffy that came from the starter deck here. Going to get a 2k out of hand from good old Luffy player, and then I'm going to play out the good old Brook into Katakuri. For those that don't know what Katakuri does, if you have 6 or more rested Dawn, he permanently gets plus 2000 power. So that's a 6k for 3 Dawn with 1k counter. Quite the steal for this specific deck. Just a great curve filler, especially when you don't really want to maybe resolve an Usopp. So I think ultimately Katakuri is just a better drop for sure compared to Usopp here. Gonna go past to the 6 Dawn turn on good old black purple Luffy here. As I might have figured out the music, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I did not figure out the music. I was having some issues with Bluetooth, and I ended up figuring it out later. But we're gonna go ahead and get a 5k in the lead here. I'm gonna go ahead and take that one. Get another 2k to hand here. Getting pretty heavy on 2ks. I actually have 4 2ks and an 8-drop Kid here. So we're just going to go ahead and counter out of that 6k with the 2k we grabbed off life. And then now going to play out the 5-drop Sanji. Most importantly, did need that Dawn attached to the purple Luffy, the black purple Luffy leader, because Sanji requires you to have a 6 cost or less on board to be able to KO a 5 or less So it did allow him to easily pop my Katakuri, which is pretty sad. Katakuri was just going to be swinging probably for the rest of the game here, just constantly forcing 6 to 7k attacks. And we're going to go up to my 8th on turn here, and things are not looking very productive on my side. I got, what, three 2ks in hand, a kid, 8-drop kid, and then I believe that was an I'm Invincible here. We're going to go ahead and swing 6k here. We're going to draw, reveal top card, draw another 2k. I was hoping to draw some action here, as... Man, I'm just in counter heaven right now. You know what? If I get that 8-drop kit on board, I'm definitely going to be doing some work because I'm going to be able to protect it for days for sure. We do have that Invincible. I was really hoping to draw something to do off of this play, something to fill my Dawn with, but unfortunately I did not find that here. So we're going to go ahead and swing 7k here, and I believe what we're going to do is it's likely to just attach an additional Dawn back to Uta, use I'm Invincible to just swing another 7k. We're just going to try to be extremely aggressive this turn, just hate on Luffy's hand. I think Luffy's hand is starting to brick up a little bit here. Looks like he got one more 2k as well as a 1k. Just gonna go ahead and take that here. Grabs another 2k in a hand, pretty nice off of life here. And now I'm debating whether or not I want to resolve the Sanji, which could be a play that I would decide to make instead of just doing the Invincible and saving that I'm Invincible for later in the game. We're gonna play out Sanji. Sanji, while being a 2k in hand, is a bit of a beater on the board. 4 cost 5k. Dawn X1, right? 1 Dawn attached. For every 3 rested Dawn I have, Sanji gets plus 1000 power. So that means Sanji can get himself up to a 9k attacker going into the next turn if I manage to rest all of my Dawn, which is a likely plan here, as I usually have things to play. Not too much in my hand right now. Got a few things in hand here for good old Aegis. Aegis gonna slam down an Uso Hachi. With being an 8 Dawn, it does allow him to rest a character to be able to just kind of clear board. Black Purple's Luffy's deal right now is just to try to deal with as much of my board as possible, as I am getting incredibly aggressive. I'm still at 4 life, he's at 2 life here, and so every single one of these threats could be potentially taking life from him, as his hand is breaking up quite a bit here. That top knot, bottom decking my Sanji, very sad. And then likely here, we're going to see a big swing into my Usopp. We're going to see a 5k go into my Usopp, and then likely a 6k, then likely another 6k from leader here. So we're just going to go ahead and just let it go, because there's no reason for me to save it at this point. I think I'm just going to let that go as well here. And I'm really trying to bank into the kid turn on the next turn here. So we're going to just go ahead and take that hit, go down to 3. It is another 2k. Would you believe it? We're going to use a 2k here to counter out of that last Sanji hit. And we're going to, I believe, pass back to my side here. Going up to the 10 Dawn turn. And I think that's a Brook in hand here. Or sorry, the 9 Dawn turn. This is the turn I could potentially just slam down the kid. I'll have enough Dawn to attach 1 to the kid, allowing me to rest it. And then basically force my opponent to attack it instead of my leader. So basically pseudo turns my leader into an 8k leader here. But instead forcing them to attack something on the board. We don't have enough Dawn to attach to leader this turn, so instead we're just going to swing 5k. Where that 5k is going, I believe is probably going at life here, or at one of the, maybe the Frankie on board, but it's going to get countered out of, and then we're going to play good old Kid. We're going to attach 1 to Kid. We're going to activate its effect. Now, Kid's effect does say you can just put nothing into play. It's up to. But yeah, we're putting up the wall. We're becoming Fortress Mode Uta right now, as we haven't found most of our mid game here, as we're gonna go into Luffy's 10 Dawn turn. If you like this type of gameplay, if you like the Spin the Wheel series where we play random leaders, definitely subscribe, join the crew. We're always looking for new crew members. We're getting very close to 600, which is pretty awesome. We hit 500 relatively quicker than I thought we would. So I've just been on the moon at this point, and we're just gonna keep writing that all the way throughout the rest of this year. So if you like this type of content, we release these videos Monday and Wednesdays. But yeah, definitely join the crew, like the video, let me know that you appreciate this type of interesting gameplay. As we go into good old Luffy's turn, Luffy being at 10 Dawn, has a Kaido in hand, could slam down the Kaido to just pressure here, but definitely just wants to use all that Dawn to try to pressure my Kid here. We see an 11k go into Kid. I've got 2k counters. If y'all remember, I have 2ks for days right now, as I'm just going to counter that. We're going to see likely another 9k go into lead here, and I'm going to use that other 2k, get out of it, pretty much invalidating the rest of Black Purple Luffy's turn. Black Purple Luffy does leave 1 Dawn up, which is going to be that Gum Gum Giant I had not seen it yet, right? I hadn't seen him draw it, but every time a black, purple Luffy or some kind of Straw Hat leader that has purple, has a purple color in their deck, if they leave one Don open, it's definitely going to be a Gum Gum Giant. You can always expect it. So whether or not he has it in hand or not, I definitely am going to expect it with that one Don open. And we're going to, as we go back to my turn here, we've got a few things that we can do here. We're going to just start with a 7k lead. We're going to go ahead and flip. We're going to reveal a new Genesis, put that into our hand. New Genesis is going to be a great way for us to find some threats here. And he's just going to use Gum Gum Giant immediately, get rid of that Kaido, and draw 2 cards and -2 Don, and get out of that attack here. We're going to start with a New Genesis. New Genesis does let me look at the top 3, find a film card. It is a free card here. And we're just going to grab a Katakuri here and go and untap that Dawn. We do have the Brook into the Katakuri here. We also have the 7-drop Luffy, which we managed to pick up on this last turn, which is pretty awesome here. And enough Dawn to be able to put a Dawn back on Kid. We're going to go ahead and swing, likely swing a 9k here into, I believe it's going at, I think I'm still just pushing everything at face here. He does have a Frankie blocker on board, so wherever I send this, it's likely just going to get blocked anyways. We're going to send it at Sanji here, and it's just going to get the block for the Frankie. Frankie just being such a great card here. And I'm going to have the Wombo combo. We're going to play the 7 Don. We're going to play out Luffy, and then Luffy's going to play out Brook, and then Brook is going to likely play out my Katakuri, or that Katakuri here, putting 3 bodies on the board, catching up a bit here, but only with 1 card in hand. So we know that that Kid is likely going to be done for this world at this point, because I just, if anything, my opponent could expect me to have a 2k, but for all of us at home, that is no counter in my hand. That is an I'm invincible, but I'm actually setting up now for a potential I'm invincible play here, which is going to be pretty nice. And looking back at good old Aegis aside, still sitting at 10 Don, does have a spatter of removals, and ended up finding another Kaido here. Also has the 10-drop Luffy, I believe, in hand as well, and a set of 2Ks and some blocker and a blocker here. So a lot of options. Likely just looking at that Kaido there in the front. Also could just play the top knot to bottom deck the Brook or the Katakuri here. He really just needs to deal with the board just as much as possible. We're going to see a top knot come down and bottom deck good old Katakuri. Very sad to see from my side. That Katakuri has just done nothing this game. Both times it's immediately dealt with. Aegis definitely recognizing the threat that it definitely is. It is quite the threat. For free, every turn I'm just going to be able to swing a 6k to 7k attack, which puts a whole lot of pressure on my opponent's hand here, as their hand is bricking up quite a bit here. 9 more Dawn to work with, likely just slamming down the Kaido here. Kaido going to come down and get a -5 Dawn. They've already used Luffy's effect once this turn, so those two Dawn cards are not going to be coming back from the pile here. And going to go ahead and KO Brook here. You're going to send 10k into Kid. I just going to let it go. Yes, I could have blocked with my Luffy, but ultimately the kid is out of here. I probably should have, honestly, probably should have blocked with my Luffy here, but we decided not to here. And I'm just going to take that here, and then opponent decides not to attack. Either way, I was going to be taking 1 because if Luffy attacked, I was going to, if I blocked it, then Sanji's going to attack, then I'll just take it anyways. So ultimately, doesn't really matter how you slice it. Opponent just decides not to attack because he knows that I'm just going to block it. In hindsight, maybe should have kept the Kid up, because Kid ultimately is going to be, it would have invalidated the rest of his attacks that turn. So I would have still been at 1 life, or I still would have been at 3 life with the Kid on board, which might have been slightly better. That Kid, again, will continue to be sticky every single turn. We're going to go ahead and swing 10k. Now, a 10k here means my hand, it maybe isn't the best here. Only at 2 life. My opponent only has 5 cards in hand, has no Dawn up, which tells me likely doesn't have the good old Gum Gum Giant. He's going to go and take that attack here. I'm swinging 10k because I'm likely going to be swinging double 9ks here with good old I'm Invincible. I'm seeing the writing on the wall. I am not finding what I need to find. Typically, Uda finds a whole lot of blockers, but right now I'm not finding any blockers. So I think right now we're going to go for the Lethal Gambit and see if we can finish off good old Black Purple Luffy. Black Purple Luffy, he does brick up a lot, and I'm thinking here, is this the play that we want to go for? We've already used 1 blocker. We don't have any more in hand. We're going to just kind of hope what's off life here, and maybe just a double 9k might do the trick here, as again, no, oh, we find another Luffy here. Very unfortunate. Maybe would have liked to see that Luffy. Could have sequenced a little differently. I could have swung with Uta first and then found the Luffy and then played the Luffy into something else to try to fill the board back up and survive. But here I'm going for a full attack, and he ends up using most of his hand to get out of that. A 2k and a whole bunch of 1ks. And I'm invincible. We're going to stand that back up, and we're just going to swing a 9k again at lead. Can't swing it into Kaido. Can't swing it into anything else, so it's just going to go to lead, and it's going to be... My life is in Luffy's hands at this point. That Kaido being quite annoying here. I could have, stacked the Dawn to swing at the Kaido, but Luffy had 5 cards in hand, likely would have had a way to get out of it. And then I didn't know that Luffy was coming on top. Maybe could have sequenced a little differently. Could have attached one to lead and then played out. Found the Luffy, played out the Luffy, maybe put something else into play here, and just went straight defensive mode. Only 4 cards in my hand, 2 life, 1 character on board. This is looking a little interesting. I could potentially find some counters out of life, which would allow me to survive here. As Luffy only has, I believe that's 7 Dawn here. I believe it's 7 Dawn. I'm counting right. Yeah, because he -5 last turn from 10 or from 9. No, from 10. So he's at 7 Dawn right now. So Luffy not sitting at 8 Dawn, which 8 Dawn's kind of that threshold for a lot of the abilities here that matter, which is pretty nice for me. But kind of eyeballing, kind of doing a little bit of math here. Could swing 5k, 6k, 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 10k, something like that. If you wanted to use every character on board, could definitely do that. Could also swing 5k, 6k, 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 10k. Likely want to stagger those a little bit here. The interesting part about this game is definitely combat math here. Trying to decide how you want to attack and what order you want to attack to try to maximize your chance at being able to win the game here. And it's going to start with a pretty safe 7k off of Sanji here. I don't think I have any... okay, I've got a 2k, 1k, and then 2 other bricks in my hand. Very unfortunate. Pulls off of Uta, and my opponent is completely cognizant of those cards because Uta does reveal those. And 2 cards in life here. We could potentially, so now we know that, unfortunately, from my perspective, I'm going to be taking the next hit, especially because I have no counter in hand. But Aegis does not know this. The bluffing is a big part of this game for sure. Also, a little bit of luck, as we can see what I can hit out of life here. 2 more Dawn in Aegis's hand. Likely could attach those to the Uso Hachi, or instead go for a very safe 7k again, with the Luffy still not using too much Dawn here. And actually it looks like that we're seeing, all right, we're seeing likely a 6k, could be a 7k here. Yeah, I think a 7k is the best bet here. 7k is going to require 2 cards out of hand. I don't have it, and if I had it there, then he might as well just let it go. And we're going to see a 7k, and I'm just going to take that too. And I did not see, I don't think, any counter off of life here. Yeah, no, there's 1k counter off of life, a whole bunch of bricks. Black Purple Luffy seals the deal, wins the game. And that's it for me with this matchup. Unfortunately, could have made some slightly different decisions if I had attacked with Uta first with the turn before. But with the amount of data and the information I had in hand, definitely just tried to go for it there. And unfortunately, wasn't able to finish him off on that multi-attack that previous turn. If you like this type of content, definitely subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video.